Hello, I was messing with my hair. This is Aurelia Davis, Educator's Educator, coming to you on a Wednesday afternoon in Chicago. I understand this was the last day of school. Hooray for you. You made it through. Very, very good. You made it through. You made it through. Congratulations. I would first like to say congratulations to all of the graduates throughout the United States. I have been looking on Facebook and I have just seen so many different graduation ceremonies and so forth, and it's just very promising to see our young people graduating from preschool, eighth grade, high school, and definitely college. They're still pushing through. They're still pushing through, and we want to congratulate them. We want to encourage them on a regular basis. On a regular basis. I would also like to say congratulations to one of my friends, Barbara Walker, who retired from Chicago Public Schools. Congratulations, Barbara. You're going to enjoy retirement. Hopefully, you'll be able to sit down a little longer than me because I've been busy ever since. But congratulations to Barbara Walker, a friend of mine who served in the Chicago public school system for a long time and just took her leave and just retired. Congratulations and enjoy retirement. Enjoy retirement. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Aurelia Davis, and I'm a retired Chicago public school teacher. I've been retired since 2012. And after retirement, I decided to continue to work with schools and work with teachers and work with parents. And I'm finding an even need, more of a need now to work with parents. And so I've been around for quite a while, giving lives and just trying to do encouraging things, talking about different topics. And definitely want to come tonight because there's a topic that has been bothering me. I'm going to be honest, it's been bothering me for a while. And the thing about it, the unfortunate thing about it is not that it's nothing new. It's nothing new, but I've been hearing about it for like the last, I think about when I first heard about this particular topic that I'm going to talk about tonight. The particular children that it was affecting, they are now in high school. They are now in high school. So if you're talking about going back to like maybe 2008 or 9 or something like that, will be basically, where we are today. But the topic is biting. Preschool preschoolers that bite, and preschoolers that do bite can be expelled from school. I'll say that again. Preschoolers that do bite in the building or bite in their classroom or bite other students can be expelled from school. Now, when a friend of mine brought this to me, I would say about 15 years ago, she was talking about her particular grandchild that had basically been kicked out of preschool, kicked out of preschool. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, how can a preschooler get kicked out? But she said because of the behavior that the child was kicked out of preschool. So I was just appalled. I was just appalled because I taught preschool. I taught preschool for about 3 or 4 years. I worked over at Malcolm X Junior College in the in Child Development Center. And even though we were a learning center for people that were in the child development department, we still worked with regular children. I mean, the children came from some of the students. Some of our children came from outside of the school, but basically we were in place to teach child development. We were doing child development with preschoolers, and our grades and our classes we had 2 and 3 year olds, and then we had 3 and 4 year olds, and then we had 4 and 5 year olds. And I think I had 4 and 5 year old classroom, and the classrooms were small, but it still was preschool. And during the time that I taught preschool, I can never remember us putting a child out because of behavior. First of all, it's called child development because of the developmental issues or the developmental stances or the developmental stages of a child. The developmental stages of a child. And the thing about it is because you were not there. If as an educator, you were not there when the child was born, but basically the child was born to a parent, and most likely the parent was doing what they needed to do as far as child development, just to increase the stages of child development for their child. So in other words, I'm saying this, that uh the children that are attending preschools now, I have a feeling that the state is saying, I'm talking about the state of Illinois, they're basically saying that these children are a little bit more aggressive. But if the children are aggressive, then the educators need to be more attentive as to what they need to do or how to work with these particular children, how to work with the children. I'm upset about it because if we start expelling children at the early ages of preschool, what will they expect by the time they get into elementary, upper grade, seventh and eighth grade in high school? Is this a trend that they're just going to expect to happen? And then do a 1 year old actually know what's happening to him? I believe that sometimes they're doing this because I think they're punishing the parents. They're punishing the parents. And I say that to say this, that how did you not teach your child not to bite? Okay. Well, you know what? That's part of the nurturing of a child. Think about when you, if your parents ever told you about when you were babies and you were in the kitchen and the stove was hot. Okay. Don't touch the stove. The stove is hot. Okay. And a child that is basically interested in things and very inquisitive, that's the word I was looking for, an inquisitive child is going to reach out to see if the stove is hot because they don't understand what hot is. And so once they put their hand out there and they feel the heat, they're going to draw back. And then that parent stands there and say, that's why I told you don't touch the stove, because the stove is hot. And then a demonstration and a lesson takes place about not touching the stove. And you will be surprised how soon that child will start taking on the knowledge and point to stove hot. And whether the stove is on or not, they need to realize that is a piece of furniture in the kitchen that can become hot. And so they'll start to stay away from it. They'll start to stay away from it. I realize and know that children and babies are more aggressive now. They come here. That infant that started out, that 1 month old infant now is raising his head up. So they're coming into the world more mature, and that means because they're more mature, you need to start teaching them earlier. You need to start teaching them earlier. So, and then as far as biters are concerned, we know that 1 year olds, they're starting to get their teeth. It used to be a time they start getting their teeth at 2, but now they're getting their teeth in about 4 or 5 months old. And so for them to be biting and bite somebody, they don't know what it feels like. But the educator is there to basically guide and direct the child. That's why it's preschool. That's why it's child development, because you're guiding those children through the preschool stage. You're guiding those children through the human development stages as to where they are. So I really don't agree with it. I don't think it's a good idea. And some studies have shown that they're basically some of these children that are being expelled more than anything else in preschools are African American children. So my ears perk up when I hear that. That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable, because basically, as an educator, you are setting trends and saying that basically children, African American children, cannot behave properly. So that means they cannot be in school. And we know that if they're not in school, they are not learning. Okay. If they are not in school, they cannot learn. And the more days they're out, the less they can accomplish as far as learning is concerned. So I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I would say that if I was in a preschool classroom now and I noticed that a child was biting or being expelled, starting to bite a lot, I would start, first of all, I would set up a meeting with the parent. I would set up a meeting with the parents, because they're with you sometime, but they're with the parents at the same time. And so I would set up a meeting with the parent. I would see exactly what's going on in the household. Not saying that is anything traumatic, but does the child bite anybody at the house? Is a child biting anybody at the house? And then just to jump out of the subject for a minute, I was told also that this is a way is where children used to hit each other. Now what they're doing is the hitting, biting has taken over the hitting. And we know what we used to do when children would hit somebody. We say, don't do that. No, no. So when the biting takes place, that the same words of no, no needs to be heard. No, no needs to be heard. And if you have taken it up with this particular child and you are monitoring this child in your classroom, then you're going to be able to see exactly when it happens. You're going to be able to divert the behavior when it happens. And that's the job of an educator. That's the job of an educator. So you turn around and you see that this particular child has a bad habit, is a bad habit of biting, of biting. So basically, you're going to keep that child. I would keep that child by my side on a regular basis. I would keep that child by my side on a regular basis because even though the preschool classroom should be a free environment, you still have to monitor the behavior of preschoolers, just like you would monitor the behaviors of eighth graders and high schoolers. It does not stop. It does not stop there. So if speaking to teachers now, if you are having those type of issues in your classroom, first of all, I would go back to uh, seeing what the experts say. And then at the same time, I would also meet with the parents and get some kind of understanding because it's nothing wrong with the parent. I have always invited parents to come and sit in my classroom when their child was having difficulties in the classroom. I've always invited parents to come and sit in my classroom. And I think that's something that we're having issues with now. Sometimes parent teachers don't want the parents in the classroom. That's a part of the child. You have to include the parents in the child's learning, or how are the three of you? Remember that triangle I talked about some time ago? It's a triad of the parent, the teacher, and the child. The teacher, the parent, and the child. Any kind of way you want to, who you want to put in first or whatever, it does not make a difference because it is important. It's a triad where those three individuals come together to accomplish education. That's what happens. And now we're seeing that it not only starts in kindergarten, it starts in preschool. It starts in preschool. So if those parents are available to come in and monitor that child who's biting, then allow that to happen. And you will probably see a difference in the child because however that parent is nurturing the child at home, most likely you're going to have to put that nurturing into the classroom. You're going to put that nurturing into the classroom. I'm going to tell this, and I just hope that I don't get any kind of trouble with it. I have a real issue with educators that are afraid of children. I'll think about it like that. I have real issues with educators that might be afraid or intimidated by children. You are the adult. And because you are the adult, you have the responsibility of being in control, and you have to take control of that classroom. I don't care if you have five 2 and 3 year olds, and I don't care if you have 30 17-year olds. You are in place to be in control. And control does not necessarily mean that you're a monarch. You're just a boss and mean and whatever. No, 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 no. The communication starts immediately, and you set up an environment of respect in that classroom. And then at the same time, you can. I have found out that I can still be friends with my students, but they still respected me as being the authority, the as of having authority. That's what I'm trying to say. I have always been friends to my students, but they have always respected me as of having authority in that classroom. In other words, there was always a separation of adult and child, of teacher and student. Okay, adult and child and teacher and student. There has always been a separation, but at the same time, the space in between allowed us to reach out and connect with each other and communicate with each other. And that has to happen from preschool all the way up to college. It has to happen. So that's my opinion about that. I probably am going to get a little feedback on it, but if I was a teacher today in a preschool, no matter what the state says, because the state is letting it happen. Okay. But if I was back in my preschool classroom and I had some biters, okay, and I had some children that were very aggressive, they because they have a tendency of being aggressive. And then you know what, I hate to say it, but we got to go back to the pandemic. Some of these children have been home for 2 or 3 years, and then some of these pandemic babies, I don't know. They are very smart. So you have to be ahead of the game as far as teaching them. You just have to be in front. I was working with a little 18-month old about last week sometime, and I had to keep up with him. And then I've heard my other girlfriends that are grandparents and say they have to keep up with these 18-month olds, these children that are 1.5 and twos and whatever like that, and they have a tendency. The temper tantrums are still in place. They're just different now, but we learn how to deal with those temper tantrums. I'm not saying spank them or anything like that, but there are ways to handle the temper tantrums. There are ways to handle the biting. There are ways to handle the hitting, and all of these things take place with babies and preschoolers because that's how they express themselves as far as getting what they want. They feel they have to grab it, that type of thing. So teachers, if you have some biters in your classroom, go back to your books and look and see, go back to that area of behavior, and it's that you studied in college, and see exactly how you can work and manage that. Because what the lasting effect is that bothers me more than anything else is that if we're expelling preschoolers, what kind of precedent are we setting up? Are we sort of telling them that they're bad? And they're not bad. Those are behaviors. They're not bad. Those are behaviors that has to be managed, behaviors that has to be trained, and that type of thing. But to expel them from school, I'm sorry, I slipped away for a minute. But to expel them from school is just, I don't really agree with it. Well, this is Aurelia Davis, the educator's educator, giving you my opinion, and hope you will just send me some information as to what you think about it. I would really love to hear from you. Go over to my website and see my offerings, aureliadavis.com, and just enjoy still taking pre-orders for the STEM preschool cards and just loving every minute of being retired teacher. And congratulations to all the graduates of 2023 and any retired teachers that are coming out. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Now, I'm going to be coming to you in the next couple of days because I want to let you know exactly some of the summer activities that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be I love audiobooks, but at the same time, I'm going to get back into the written word as far as reading books and everything. And maybe we can do some sharing or something like that. But have a great evening and take care and talk to you soon. Bye bye.